So welcome again to another week. Nice to see you all. So again, just if you don't have it already, blanket, bolsters or blocks or cushions or long cushion, and anything else that you might want, maybe an eye mask or something like that for Shavasana. Other than that, we're going to be working through the kidney and urinary bladder meridian lines again this week. So focusing on the inner leg line, the backs of the legs, the whole backs of the legs, and the back of the spine. Well, the spine and the back body. So a lot of our tension we subconsciously hold around the hips and around the back of the body, especially the lower back. So this is going to really work to open up the space through the hips, around the lower back, really opening up the space in the kidney, so mid back as well. Often where we're sat down at a desk, but often throughout the day, we have a lot of compression in the spine. So this is a really nice way to open and elongate the spine. And also targeting the inner leg line, which also in the groin, we hold quite a lot of tension. So we're going to be working into that area as well, just to relieve and open, create a bit of space and to target those meridian lines. So I'll go a little bit more into what we're doing as we go through in terms of what we're targeting and what we're releasing. But we'll start straight off into our first shape. So coming into a child's pose position, we're just going to start to work into the spine. So if you wanted a little bit of extra support, you might want to take a bolster between the knees, so you've got something resting your stomach, your pelvis onto and your head, and you can stretch your arms long. Or if you feel quite comfortable working with no prop, just bringing the arms out long and placing the forehead down to the floor. If you need a little bit of extra space, take the knees a bit wider, and you can also work to bring a block or a cushion underneath the forehead, just keeping the spine in alignment. So in more of a flat back rather than a dropped head position might be more comfortable if you suffer from any high blood pressure or if you feel pressure in the head. So we'll be here for 5 minutes, starting from now. Just allow yourself to really drop into the hips, drop into that support of gravity, and feel as you hold in this shape, you're really making as much space in the back body as you can. If there's anything going on in the shoulders, you can also bring your hands down to rest beside your hips if that feels more restful for your shoulders and neck. So when I did my teacher training with my Yin teacher, Sarah, she would always say that she began her retreats with the kidney and urinary bladder sequence. And the reason being is the kidneys store our Jing essence, our vital energy. And whenever we're taxing the body or we're really pushing ourselves past our sort of norm, this could be through stress, through stressful situations. For example, what we're going through now could be seen as quite taxing for the adrenals and the kidneys. Working quite fully and overcommitting, overdoing, or pushing our bodies physically when we're not listening to the signals of our body and coming into a space of rest. And when we start to push ourselves past that limit, we then go into that overdrive. So this is where the kidneys start to step up to transform more of this Jing essence, which is housed there in the kidneys, so that we have energy to actually do things in everyday life. So it's really important for the body to find that space to rest, to recuperate, to regenerate, and targeting the kidney and urinary bladder meridian lines. So this whole back line of the body, stretching and opening the kidneys, working into the inner leg line also is a really, really beneficial way of just rebalancing the body systems, bringing some Jing essence back into the kidney so that it's not completely depleted. and helping to de-stress the body. So we're bringing that hyperdrive out of the mind, out of the physical movement in the body, moving quickly, walking fast, eating quickly, talking quickly. We're just dropping everything back down into a more balanced flow and rhythm. So she said that she would always do this sequence to start her retreats, normally for the first couple of days, just to let the body settle and come back down to its normal balance. Just here for around another 2 minutes or so. Really allow gravity to pull you deeper into the stretch and feel more spaciousness through the spine, through the back of the waist, where the kidneys are housed. And feel your breath really flooding into the body. More breath, more energy, more prana. So just taking the last 2 rounds of breath here. And then when you're ready, just slowly start to pad yourself back up to come to an all fours position. It might feel nice for you to take some stretches out through the legs, maybe just pedaling out one leg at a time, or even coming into downward facing dog. Maybe sitting back to the heels feels more beneficial for you, or you can always come to lie down. We're just taking around a minute or so here to allow the body to come back into a bit more balanced position. Allow the energies to shift and move. So when you're ready, just slowly bringing yourself down to a seat and take the legs out in front. We're moving into the butterfly from here. So you can work with butterfly in a few different ways, either taking a bolster underneath the knees, so you've got that nice bit of support, or you can work with some blocks beside the knees or hips. That's also quite nice to add some support here. Or if you feel quite comfortable without any support, please feel free. And if you need to elevate your hips slightly, you can grab a blanket and just bring that underneath your sit bones. Just gives you a little bit more lift in the spine. And then ideally we're working into a forward fold from here. So your forward fold might look just like here, or maybe you can fold a bit deeper and allow your body to really curve over. And the more you can allow your spine to round, the head to drop completely, the more weight will be pulling on the ligaments, the spinal muscles, to just open the spine a little bit more and stretch into the kidneys again. But again, also if it feels too much for you to fold forward, you can always just lean back into the hands. You're still working that in a leg line, but not so much pressure. Or recline all the way back, so you're laying down on the floor. That's another option too. So we're here for 4 minutes. Just tune into how the body feels as you move into a new shape. Noticing the difference in the legs in particular. We're still getting that nice stretch and opening through the spine, but with a difference in the leg position, it completely changes the forward fold. So the kidneys are linked to balance of bodily fluids in the body, and it helps to regulate blood pressure and glucose metabolism. It's also linked into the lower back, reproductive organs, the urinary system, the lower intestinal tract, and all fluid systems in the body. So it's linking in with our water element. So if we find that there's an imbalance or there's too much qi in the kidneys, we notice high blood pressure, hypertension, toxicity, swelling or bloating, poor lower blood circulation, and also difficulty urinating. This is really all about how we stay in that flow of life and how we allow our bodies to really stay in that changeable flow state, that element of water. Changing, not stagnating, or finding a sense of fluidity and expansiveness. Water is able to change and mold and move as the container changes it. And can we find ourselves in different containments or situations throughout life, able to change and mold ourselves into different ways, being able to find flexibility, adaptability, and that sense of rebalancing no matter what change in the tide. And it's quite interesting as well because the urinary bladder, the bladder itself is actually quite a flexible organ. So it needs to be able to expand and contract physically, and that also links into that mental capacity to be able to expand and contract as and when you need. Being flexible and able to really change and hold space for yourself, hold space for whatever it is that's coming into your life. And being able to release what is toxic, what's not helpful, what is waste. Just taking another round of breath here. And then slowly with your next inhalation, allow yourself to come up really gently, transitioning very slowly, mindfully and carefully. You can move any props out of the way and come to a reclined position, so you're laying down in Shavasana. You can either work with your feet on the floor, knees bent, or you can take your legs out long, whatever feels most comfortable. Just take a moment here to really feel the change in the inner leg line and maybe also more space created in the spine. Sense of release or opening. Maybe taking some sighs here, it might feel quite nice, or some deeper exhales out through the mouth. Just taking your time, allow yourself to roll slowly over to a side and then pressing yourself up to a seated position. We're going to roll over onto our front, so coming over onto all fours. You may want a bolster or cushions near you. We're moving into Sphinx, so into a back bend from here. If it feels nice to add a bit of support underneath the chest, you can bring a bolster or a pillow, and maybe just taking the arms out in front or holding onto the elbows, maybe even resting your head into your hands might feel quite nice. If you don't feel that you need the support, you can always work without, or you can rest on the support. That gives you a little bit more lift in the spine. If you wanted to work a little bit deeper, you can come into a deeper back bend through seal. That's either just taking your hands off of your mat and lifting yourself up through straight arms, or again, you can use a bolster or a pillow underneath your hips to lift you up higher. So we don't want any compression in the lower back, no clenching of the legs. We want the body to feel really nice and soft and relaxed. So we're here for just 4 minutes again, starting from now. So as we move into this back bend, we're slowly pressing into the kidneys, and that compression allows for a movement of the energy through as we come out. So as we find the compression, the expansion allows more blood flow, more chi and prana to flow through. Also allowing any toxicity to leave the kidneys, helping to purify the blood there. And often, as our life is very much lived in the future, we're always thinking ahead and working ahead and planning for the next thing to come. We're often rounded forward, or the body is pulled forward. Where the mind is, the body goes. So often we find that the spine is rounded. So to come into a really nice deep back bend just allows the body to open, heart to open, the shoulders to roll back. And it gives a little bit of a counter into the spine, helping to relieve a little bit of tension there. Just coming for our last minute. So just taking a final round of breath where you are. And again, gently transitioning out of the shape. You can either work into an all fours position, or you can come to lay down on your front, maybe taking one knee bent and the elbows bent into a cactus shape and resting the side of the head down. You can also lay onto your back or come into a child's pose, down dog, anything that your body needs in this moment. Just taking around another minute or so to rest and receive. So wherever you are, slowly coming back into a neutral position, just making our way gently to an all fours position once again. So continuing on with back bending, we're moving into Anahatasana or heart melting extended puppy pose. So this is quite a strong shape for your shoulders. Feel free to work with a bolster underneath your chest and your elbows down on the floor. But ideally, we want to work to really open and lengthen the spine, so we can keep our hips pushing back and the knees in line with the hips. And then pad your hands forward so that you've got a really nice, long, extended spine. And then bringing the forehead down to the floor. If you can't bring your forehead down to the floor, then bring the floor up to you with either blocks or cushions. And again, if it's too much to work with the arms extended out long, just bring your forearms down to the floor and work in the same way. So we want to keep the weight pushing back into the legs so you feel the feet can stay grounded, the shins potentially are grounded too. Maybe the toes tucked might feel more comfortable to keep your weight back. And a gentle lift of the pelvic floor might also help to pull the energy back into the legs. Ideally, the spine is draping and long, so we've got that nice back bending action in the spine, that extension of the spine. So quite interestingly, our organs hold different elements of our emotions within them. For example, the liver, when it's out of balance, holds anger, but also compassion. The kidneys hold fear. And fear really taxes the kidneys and is also produced when the chi is out of balance. So it happens on both sides. Fear taxes the kidneys, but then if the chi or the energy in the kidneys is out of balance, it will produce a sense of fear in the body. As we come more into balance, we find ourselves much more able to find a sense of vitality, of nourishment, of feeling really pure and grounded in ourselves. And when we're really feeling energized and the body is full and vitalized because the chi is in flow and the body is feeling full of energy, We feel very able to work at our fullest capacity. We feel nourished on many levels. And we don't have that sense of tension or tightness in the body and the mind, because we're operating at a balanced and harmonious flow of chi. We feel well in our bodies and our minds, and this sense of well-being permeates through all levels of our systems. Let's here for one more round of breath. And then to come out, slowly pad yourself back, push the weight into your legs, come into an all fours position. If it feels nice, you can make some cat cows or tigress, I've heard them called apparently, which is just rounding the spine, arching the spine, and dipping the spine. So just moving in and out of flexion and extension. Maybe even moving side to side might feel nice, or coming into a child's pose position. And then once you feel ready, just making your way to come back to sit into a seat on your heels just for a moment, and feel the spine come back into a neutral position. If that's too much to sit back onto the heels, just take the legs out in front. Okay, so from here we're moving into it's quite a strong stretch. It's called frog pose, and ideally we want to use a blanket underneath the legs. So we want to go which ways on the mat. So I'll show you how to position yourself, and then I'll show you from the side. And we want the toes to turn outwards, so it's a little bit of an awkward position in the legs, because we have the knees in line with the ankles and then the toes pointing out to the side. So we're really working the whole kidney line from the big toe all the way up into the groin. And then we want to grab some cushions. So bolster to rest the pubic bone onto the belly and the body. So just prop yourself up, grab some cushions first and then prop up. If this is not comfortable at all, then you can always come into a wide knee child's pose. So just from the side so you can see, we're not sitting back into the legs. We want the hips forward. It's called frog pose. We want the hips forward and then the body can come down. So the knees are as wide as feels comfortable and the body can rest. So really targeting into that inner groin, inner leg line, but also getting a nice stretch through the spine. If you can work without a bolster, please feel free to. Or you might also want to take some cushioning underneath your knees so it's a little bit more padded. So just find whichever position feels most comfortable. Again, you can always come back into a wide knee child's pose. We're going to be here for 4 minutes from now. Just in allowing yourself to gently come into the shape and really slow your breathing down. Feel the breath moving all the way down into the pelvis as you inhale. And as you exhale, feel a real deep softening through that inner leg line from the big toe up the whole inner leg line to your groin. And that lovely extension through your spine. And just rest here. Relax any struggle with any difficult emotion. Allow yourself to stay compassionately attuned to any sensations and feelings arising without insisting to improve or change. Just allow any tension to slowly diminish. Offering gratitude to your body for wherever it's at this moment. And feeling a sense of softening. The last 2 minutes, halfway through. So when we find that sense of struggle or challenge in our shapes that we hold, but we can consciously retrain our mind to stay present, focused, relaxed, peaceful, non-judgmental, compassionate to ourselves. We're retraining the limbic system in the brain to remember that even though we face challenge, we can stay in this presence of calm, softness. And the more and more we really drop into that space, drop into that inner knowing and that experience of struggle, challenge, and softness, calmness, the more that becomes our natural response. So we want to really move very slowly as we come out of this one. It's quite a strong one. So just take a couple of breaths and allow yourself to slowly bring your hands to the floor so you can lift your body up. Once the body's up, we can slowly take one knee in at a time and just take a moment to sit back onto the heels. You're going to lay down in a moment, but just let your head and your heart come back over your hips. And then move any props out to the side and allow yourself to just lay down on your back for a moment. Feel into that. Let the feet relax, let the legs be heavy. And again, any sighs, yawns that might feel nice. Just rest here for a moment. Feel into that inner leg line, the energy flushing through. Maybe some change again through the spine. Slowly rolling off to the side and gently bring yourself up to a seated position. So the next one, we can either work in one of two ways. you can either take yourself up to a wall space, and we'll take a wide leg position and then a straight leg position. So if you're taking a wall space, you want to just bring yourself to the wall, slide yourself around and bring your sit bones all the way up to the wall. Take your legs nice and wide and just rest the heels onto the floor. You can hold onto the sides and the knees to support the legs. We'll be here for 5 minutes and then we'll take legs up the wall. So legs just go straight. We'll be there for another 5. Or if you wanted to take a seated position, we're coming into legs wide on the floor. And then folding forward. So either just hands to the floor or elbows down to the floor. Either toes flexed or pointed. So targeting again this inner leg line, really opening up that channel from earth into water. So from the feet up into the sacrum, finding that nice length through the spine. And really breathe into this line of energy, running from the big toe. And the urinary bladder is from the baby toe up the whole back line of the leg. So we're also targeting here. And if we are in the forward fold from a lifted position, we're really opening a bit more into the spine as we fold and round into the shape. There's some ways that a depletion can happen, as I mentioned at the beginning, is overworking and overcommitting. So finding ourselves not listening to the intuition of our body's wisdom and knowledge. By overdoing when we're already exhausted or stressed. And a way we can really find strength and a sense of boosted energy in the chi, or balanced energy in the chi of the kidneys, is to learn to cultivate appropriate rhythms in life, so our routines, and also to live more balanced. So not pushing or forcing. Again, like the river, we flow. We allow life to take us whichever way we need to go. We're not struggling against the tides or swimming upstream. We're moving as life takes us. And sometimes we think that we know better than life, but often if we really take a moment and sit back and drop into our intuition and listen to what life is showing us or asking of us, there's normally a bigger reason for why we have changes, why things don't work out, or things aren't going the way that we hoped, because life has a greater plan for us, or there's something that we need to be doing that maybe we've forgotten about, or because we are working so hard, we are overcommitting, we've not even acknowledged. And life is always giving us space, giving us room to move and flow and change and to be doing exactly what we need to do. There's always room and space for it, but when we force and push and fight, we often lose that insight. And the kidney is really about living in harmony. It's the mansion of fire and water, the residence of the yin and the yang, and the channel of life and death, giving birth, metamorphosizing, reproduction. And they link the past and the future. So there's a strong link to our ancestral lineage here too. So when we really live in harmony with the way, with the Tao, or Tao, as a traditional Chinese medicine would look at it from a Taoist tradition, will always benefit. And if we struggle with the way things are, we'll always suffer. So the kidney and urinary bladder and meridian line really brings that in to find a sense of balance. can we find balance within so that we can find balance outside? Last couple of seconds here. And then if you're on your back, you can very gently, slowly bring your legs up to center and finish here with legs up the wall. Or if you would like to come into caterpillar, which is a forward fold, you can slowly bring yourself up. If you're in a seated position already, just taking one hand behind each back of the knee. Take your time to really process that shape before moving into caterpillar. You may like to use a bolster underneath the backs of the hips if you're in legs up the wall, or a bolster underneath the back of the knees if you're in caterpillar. Just do for 5 minutes once more. It's a really nice way of bringing physical energy to the kidneys is taking the legs up the wall. When we elevate the legs up, the blood flows back down, the chi flows back down, the energy moves all the way back towards the heart. So the kidneys get a really good flush of energy. It helps to move any toxicity out of them. It allows the blood to rush back down without the heart having to pump so hard. And it gives a bit of support to the organ and brings this flow of chi back down, streaming into the kidneys. So if you're ever feeling tired or stressed, or if the body is experiencing any of those symptoms, high blood pressure, hypertension, swelling, bloating, poor circulation, it's good to take the legs up the wall. And we can stay here for up to 20 minutes. Sometimes your toes go a bit cold, but you feel great when you come out after. So just take a final round of breath here, wherever you are. And if you took caterpillar, forward fold, Allow yourself to slowly lift up to a seated position. Make any final adjustments and move yourself back down to the floor to come into Shavasana. And if you took the legs up the wall, gently bring your knees in towards the chest, hug in, and then you can roll off to a side. If you want to take a few back rolls side to side, that might feel nice before you come to a side. Take a moment on your side, and then when you're ready, you can move yourself to an all fours position and come back into Shavasana from there. So again, you might want to take a blanket over you or blanket underneath your head. It's quite nice to have the head a little bit elevated, just so you've got a bit of support for the neck and shoulders. Maybe it might feel nice to take some cushions or props underneath your feet. That's quite nice to lift your feet up and then have your knees supported. Maybe an eye mask or something gentle and light to cover your eyes. And then just rest in whatever feels comfortable, but take up space. So the legs take up space, the arms, feel the whole back body really melting onto the floor. And just take a moment to rest here. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Feel the belly. And exhale through the mouth. Inhale into the belly, deep breath in. Sigh out through the mouth. And then a nice deep breath into the belly. Sigh out through the mouth. Allow your inhale to feel a sense of revitalization. And your exhalation, bring a sense of deep release, deep letting go. And in that sense of release, of surrender, of letting go, feeling the pull of gravity as your body becomes heavier and more supported by the earth beneath you. Allow the whole body to feel completely rested. And each exhalation drops you deeper into that support, into that relaxation, into letting go. Just repeating in your mind, my feet, my calves and knees are relaxed. My thighs, my hips, my glutes and lower back are relaxed. Pelvis, my spine, my mid-back and upper back are relaxed. My organs, my stomach, my chest are relaxed. My shoulders, my upper arm, my lower arm and hands are relaxed. My throat and neck head is relaxed. My face is relaxed. Brain is relaxed. My mind is relaxed. I am completely relaxed. Inhale. Exhale. Gently bring yourself back into your breath. Bring the breath flood into your body. Your energy lifting as you breathe more deeply. Your energy into your hands and feet, just gentle movement into your hands and feet. And maybe circle the wrists, the ankles. Making any stretches or movements that feel nice for you. And when you're ready, you can take a moment and just roll off to a side and pause on your side. Sending your breath into the back body. And then with your next inhalation, use your top palm to gently press yourself up to a seat, keeping the eyes closed if you can. Find a moment to realign the head and the heart over the hips. And just reconnect again with your breath. Taking a moment to feel into the practice. Tune into any changes or differences. Just acknowledging where our bodies are at right now. And bringing hands into a prayer at the heart space. Bring gratitude and reverence to our bodies for all that they do for us. Bring gratitude to our practice for all that it allows to bring, reinforce, to change and to strengthen in our lives. And the space to rest, to turn inward and to acknowledge our true selves. Really offer yourself gratitude for taking this time for you, to show up for you, and to connect back with you today. And I offer you gratitude for taking this time to practice with me. It's such a pleasure to share this space and to really drop in and hold this space together. Take a nice deep breath in and bow your heads for a namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. So lovely to see you all. Have a really good rest and a lovely week ahead. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Let me know.